Everybody ready? I think we're live. How's everybody feeling? Post breakpoint blues? Are you getting vests to be stabbed in London? Are you rooting for Tokyo? Are you letting the markets decide where we go next year for breakpoint? What's happening?
I appreciate some of the comments that Vibu made about this, and also Mert. And it was like, look, the community could do their own breakpoint in Tokyo. So I think what's really cool is we know that a lot of people want it to be Tokyo. As someone who lives in Europe, it's easier to go to London, but I can tell you it's going to be a not as good as a breakpoint as the last one. This one was awesome. This is my second favorite breakpoint of all time.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
get,
so too.
I'm getting into the vibes by wearing my merch from Amsterdam, the third breakpoint that it never stopped raining. So yeah, getting ready. Lots of beans, lots of rain. Get ready. Whatever the choice of venue it is, I have faith Solana is gonna deliver. 5 out of 5 breakpoints have been great productions. So I'm bullish. And
Yeah,
for those that didn't know, before Breakpoint was called Breakpoint, the first Breakpoint, the first Solana international meetup was in Tokyo. So in a way, and this is this is beginning of February of 2020, I think, and very few people attended. It was not called Breakpoint. But yeah, the predecessor of Breakpoint started in Tokyo. Hopefully, we're going back to Tokyo for the 7th one, if not the 6th.
Or we just throw an island out there and call it a day. And instead of a couple of days, we get a month in Tokyo. If anybody's listening, reach out. If you want to do a Tokyo Island DAO, we're here. Let's do it. And before we get started, for the people watching live, please retweet and amplify and comment. It helps us a lot in spreading the word. That's a pre-holiday episode. So we're gonna do a coin that's very, very interesting today, and it's called Nummus. Is it Nummus or Nummus Eternitas? I think the full name is Nummus Eternitas. And I believe we met the guy behind Nummus during Breakpoint, and he told us what Nummus Eternitas means. It's something Latin from the Roman Empire. Does anybody remember what he told us that the meaning was behind this phrase?
I don't know what it means.
Let me look it up because it's fun.
It means eternal money.
Eternal coin, a name. Oh yeah, that's the name of the crypto. Yeah. So you guys have perfect SEO because I can't see the original phrase. I do see stuff about the coin. So should we get started? Who has a good idea about Nummus? Who can tell us what's cool about them, how they started, how they fall into, the era of internet capital markets, as my hat says today?
Sorry, I got distracted trying to defend Soelian to stupid responses.
I mean, it can't be CT if we don't have stupidity involved, right?
Yeah, some metrics are just, I always think that facts are speak for themselves, but sometimes I guess that should be our lesson. We should just let facts speak for themselves, and if some people can't understand facts, that's up to them.
Nummus. So, Nummus is a DAO. Nummus has Bitcoin on Solana. Nummus has plenty of members in their DAO. They're pretty transparent on what's happening. I can see 0.43 BTC. Very bullish. They were present in Breakpoint. Lovely people. I had a blast connecting with them. So in terms of transparency, just by visiting the Realms DAO, I can see a bunch of information, which in my eyes, it elevates their position versus most of the tokens that we have no clue.
Yeah, I'm poking around now. This is the first so I've been a fan of them for a while in that they appeared out of nowhere, had an active, voter base, and they're doing something cool where they are collecting BTC. Now, I'm checking their wallet on chain, The last time BTC was added was a day ago. $400, $450 worth of BTC. I am now trying to understand kind of the logic that's running, that's paying for this BTC. Do we have any information on how that's happening? I see there's a wallet that's created tokens and it's doing the swap to TBTC. Interesting. They're selling they're turning Nummus into TBTC. So I guess they're getting that from their AMM. Like they're getting it from their liquidity pool.
No, it's on their website. You can check part of the supply is locked on Streamflow, and that supply is being used to buy TBTC. So the moment the supply ends, I guess that's when they stop buying BTC as well. I'm gonna send the link, but that's how they organize this whole thing. Is that part of the Nummus supply is reserved to buy BTC.
So they DCA from vested Nummus to TBTC, basically.
Yeah.
But do we have the numbers of the supply? How much of the supply has been allocated for that?
25% maybe. I don't know. Maybe or 5%, something like that. Right? You can check on Streamflow.
You can also see the swaps on Happy DAO. I can also see they sold a little bit of BTC.
So they've locked 15% of the supply. They are vesting 4.39 of the supply. So I guess the 4.39 goes towards buying TBTC.
What is this Happy DAO thing?
So, okay, the component that's swapping isn't decentralized, right? Somebody's manually doing it. That's fine. I think it's also hard to go back in time now. That token stream has already been set up. But that's an area where you need to have trust that token stream will continue to be changed into Bitcoin. So there's an element of trust. They also have two other tokens in their treasury. One is called Bella Bumper, and the other one is called Punchy Puff. And my understanding is those tokens also are related somewhat to this project. So $50,000 in their account, and we have a market cap of 1.3 million, which compared to its NAV is very high. But in the world of meme coins, that's a very good valuation, the fact that there's the asset. I'm going to start poking around to understand the asset controls. Because if I'm correct, they do have a council token.
They do have a council token.
But they don't have the veto turned on.
They do not.
Okay, so first recommendation would be that they turn on the veto. And this would ensure that token holders have some capture resistance on the assets of the treasury, but they still would not have any on the stream. How long is that stream going? Do we know?
It's until
a bit of trust on execution for more than a year. Fascinating.
Not a lot of recent activity as well in their DAO.
Now, what would you hope for them to do as a DAO? To do something with the Bitcoin?
I see the last proposal was a token burn. How is this governed? How does it work? Is it on intervals? Is this... I see it happened 5 months ago.
The vote happened 5 months ago, whereas on the wallet, we see activity happening every week.
I mean, if I was a Nummus holder, I'll probably propose that the other meme coins that the treasury is holding to be converted into Bitcoin. So, Nummus is dedicated to have Bitcoin only in the treasury. It's for them to swap the other two coins. They have 8K and 3K or something like that. So it's a good chunk to be swapped into BTC.
I agree. So it looks like they do this regularly every week. Let me see. How much Nummus do I need? I need 7K worth. I do not have 7K worth.
So it seems that they started off as an NFT collection with Torino DAO and their NFTs that somehow they're supposed to play some role in the governance of Nummus, but I don't see the connection. There's a separate DAO of Torino that hasn't been active for 2 years now or even more, and Nummus has been active like ever since. So they might have transitioned from Torino DAO to Nummus. But on the website, it says that Torino plays a crucial pivotal role, Torino DAO to Nummus Eternitas, acting as the project's strategic vanguard. Core function is to translate community consensus into disciplined action.
Yeah, Torino is one of the most OG of DAOs. I see they had an NFT. Everything's Italian. That's cool. I see the mention of Mad Lads there. Acquisto de un Mad Lads ad un prezzo massimo.
I also see that they had announced on the 5th of August that they would be doing every month those buy-in burns. And this is again, we see the importance on having this on a programmatic kind of way, instead of people forget, people fall behind their promises sometimes. Maybe that was not a very serious promise. Maybe this was not a really big part. I found an announcement on the 5th of August that this is going to happen monthly, month after month, specifically. What happened to that?
So they're still doing it from the streaming stuff, right? They're doing that every week.
They are buying BTC every week. They're not burning.
I think they burn. Oh, what are they supposed to burn? It makes more sense to sell the Nummus for BTC than it does to burn it. And what ends up happening is, like, what I don't love is that I don't see a value accretion outside of the growth of Bitcoin. Like, you buy this expecting the price of Bitcoin to go up. That's a good question. Like, I would want to understand why not just buy Bitcoin.
They are still burning through Sol Incinerator. Yep, they do.
And they burn their token.
Well, the idea is to burn the token to create some pumpanomics so it can have more power to accumulate TBTC. Doesn't really make sense.
Found it on Solscan, I'll tell you.
Legend, you are very skeptical.
Yeah, they burned 25,000 Nummus 3 days ago. About $345.
Yeah, that should have been a governance proposal, which wasn't. So that's one.
Then the Nummus would have had to have been there. So it was somebody else's Nummus. Or it was from that stream. Like, when we're going to be looking at some tokens, we're going to see what can you change and what can't you change. You can't change the fact that you've locked those streams on Streamflow. You know, for anybody watching, you should be using the Realms stream. That way it can all be part of your DAO. But they've done that. Fine, that happened. And somebody's collecting them. Fine, that's happened. It makes no sense for that person to manually... I mean, you could tell them that they have to send their stream all the time over to the DAO, but I wouldn't give them negative points for that. They're executing everything they've said they would execute. It's just how much can they change at this point to make it more, protected and moving towards this kind of internet capital market standard that we're saying. And I think the veto makes the most sense. That's the number one. Now I'm looking at the multi-sig quorum is 60. They've got 10 signers. So they have to have 6 of the 10 signers there. I don't know the vote tipping of their multi-sig. Maybe not as important. But it's interesting. What I would want to see at this point is what it is beyond a Bitcoin DAT. Because if you're at the point in which you're smart enough, you understand how to, like, if you're interacting with realms, you're not the kind of person that doesn't know how to get access to. So there's another reason why you want to be part of this. And that's what excites me, is that there's a group of people that steward this together.
So they're close at achieving a good ownership token meta in a way. There's a few tweaks like the veto, everything is on chain, it's just a little bit spread apart. Some of the links are not amazing because they redirect to Realm's, the old user experience, user interface. So it's cool that they are putting the effort.
So yeah, like there's like 4 things that myself, also as Realm's product is that you probably would like to see 4 categories of ICM a project has. One of them is for sure is constitution, which is you can see most of the stuff, the addresses, who controls what, the programs, if the project has a as a, let's say, the protocol that the program has authority over. If another category will be rev share or buybacks. So if the protocol, if the DAO owns of the rev share, like if the rev share is going to the treasury or the buybacks are going to the treasury, which you could say it's the case. It's not Nummus is not a token or a protocol that buy back its own token. So it's more like another token. So you could consider that like a buyback. As I would say, it fits the category of buybacks instead of rev share. V2 power is another category. It's a way to give power to the community for wrong decisions or decisions you don't agree with the team. And the last category will probably be burn rate, which Nummus though doesn't fit much because not a protocol that
It doesn't have cost.
then maybe operates on an individual cost, but that individual cost is not spread or using treasury funds or DAO funds. So doesn't fit that category. Or if the protocol was willing to fit, then probably we'll have to use DAO funds in some way. So 3 out of 4. So like 75% fits the ICM standard in a way. Not completely, but by Realm standard, 75, 3 out of 4, more or less. So yeah, that's my opinion in terms of ICM standard given to Nummus and how they fit in our vision in a way. Of course, can be improved, at least in the beginner version, 3 out of 4.
I like that rundown on the different types, and I think it's a good distinction that this is an example of a token that doesn't have a burn. So you would never need to have that allowance going specifically to a team. But this is and if we were going to hypothesize what their KPI is, the KPI should be more Bitcoin. So if it's more Bitcoin, and the way we get Bitcoin is by selling the remaining token we have, you want to arbitrage what you think will be the final amount of this coin and what the final amount of Bitcoin is going to be. Right? Because there's going to be a point at which the treasury owns nothing other than its Bitcoin. And there will be no more token to sell.
There's this funny question which I'm going to ask you, like, do you rather buy Nummus so you can have access to TBC or part of it, or you just rather buy into a basket in Symmetry, for example, to have access to a fund that you can, participate and rage quit at any time, meaning you can redeem your tokens for the profit or the losses of the fund.
Yeah, it's the intangibles on top of Nummus I would need to understand, and that's where a constitution would be valuable to understand. Is it so you're in a group environment purchasing Bitcoin? There is an arbitrage though between the price of Nummus and how much Bitcoin it currently has and what you think the price will do, which enables them to continue to buy more Bitcoin. This is like, there's an equation you can do here.
So which one you'll prefer to go into, Nummus or the fund? the basket?
I think as I stand today, I wouldn't want to have exposure to both. Like I have exposure to Bitcoin directly, but I like the idea of having it with a group. And I think that's like this becomes like why would you buy MicroStrategy over Bitcoin? It's a very similar conversation today, but I think there can be some sort of community benefit you can get. I don't know. Can these guys go and lend out that Bitcoin and do some weird stuff and issue a new token? Maybe. There's nothing that prevents them to in their community from saying, "Hey, let's now go and do it again, and this is how we can tweak our strategy to buy more Bitcoin."
I think the next step for Nummus, if they wish to transition from a meme coin type of narrative to a utility type of token, will be properly start to copy some DeFi protocols. So, everybody knows Hilo, for example, right? And Carrot, for example. So these are two protocols that, Carrot, for example, recently just announced they have this, leverage token where you cannot get liquidation, but you can get exposure. So you can get, higher gains. The same with Hilo, where you can, buy XSOL and you get the leverage token without getting liquidated. It's like a perps, but without liquidation in a way. Although the losses are magnified, the same with the gains. So what I'm saying is that Nummus to transition to more utility type of token will probably require a developer to develop, let's say, a BTC leveraged token, where they will take the fees of the protocol and then buy Nummus and BTC for the DAT. It's a good transition, although it's a very hard one because it requires a good developer, the program getting audited, everything should be working. But as we have seen recently, more and more DeFi protocols are kind of going to this leveraged token with some mechanism for it not to be liquidated, and getting into leverage without liquidation, which is it's a very cool concept, and it would help Nummus a lot if they had the possibility to do this, of course. But besides that, it's as you said, it's like the MicroStrategy X type of exposure, which hard to choose between this and in a basket where you have more control, programmatic control, you could say.
I'm trying to understand what led to its 300% price gain over the last month.
The way I see BTC in this instance is as a real world asset, is a RWA that's easily ported into Solana, into other blockchains. It's not a native token in any way. So the future I see for Nummus is adding more RWAs into their portfolio, especially if you think of BTC as commodity, as real estate, as all of those. So that's the future I would see for Nummus. Now, your question about what led to the increase, I know they're cooking something. I know the community is waiting for a big announcement. So maybe that's a little bit of the people being really close to the project. But this is one of those meme coins that spawned from the Bonk launchpad. That months later, 6 months later, still alive, still active, with a clear roadmap and a very decentralized kind of process. Much better than your average meme coin. Now, would you invest in that, is my question.
So if I think what I'm missing is a bit of what we do with all the Bitcoin we get, right? Like I see this as a Bitcoin DAT. I see this as an MSTR. So if it's an MSTR, the liquidation to me matters a lot. I don't know how I redeem any of that Bitcoin. So if there were a rage quit, redemption phase, I'd feel much more comfortable to invest in it, because then at that point it's basically a version of MSTR. Yeah, without that, I don't love it. Like, there's a few things that are missing, but I'm not blind. I see that there's a pump. I know the guys are, very high integrity based off what we've seen so far. There's nothing else like this anywhere else in crypto that I know of. So it could go ballistic off of the fact that it's the first true on-chain DAT.
Regarding that on Solana, there are a couple of those. Even NFT wise, we have seen Mad Lads type of DATs, even NFT DAT, which is it's very funny. Regarding would you invest? I think I'll probably get exposure if they start doing these very obvious steps, which are governance related, which is convert the other two shitcoins in the DAO treasury to Bitcoin, or buy back Nummus, for example, because two shitcoins are not doing anything there. And the next other step will probably put the BTC in the DAO treasury to start getting some yield. So start looking into Camino type of options, safe finance, whatever DeFi protocol offers yield on TBDC. So that way the DAO treasury is earning also some revenue in a way. So yeah, these are two very obvious steps we can do as a DAO for Nummus, and will most likely prompt me to get some exposure to Nummus to participate in these governance decisions. Are very cool decisions. It's a new of a kind. It's one of a kind. It also proves transparency, permissionless, and on chain, I guess. And yeah. That's it from me.
Yeah, I think the novelty is, like, once you've seen that they've done a lot of things to give protections, I would want to see veto and a redemption window. Other than that, I'm very into it. And I also noticed that as we continue doing these episodes, we're becoming a little bit more strict on certain things. Earlier we've discussed like some tokens and they have buyback programs. Those are all, trust me, bro, the way those are executed. So now, like, going straight into, okay, how does the streaming work and how does that, you realize how much is trust me, bro, even though, there's a DAO wrapper around it. And, I think the biggest culprit of trust me, bros are the ownership coin family, where, you have no idea where the revenue is going and no one's even asking the question. So what I like here is there's only, maybe one question, and we see that there's a good precedent of following and doing everything with it. If there were a way to remove that, I would think that's very good for the industry. If we can figure out how to migrate mistakes of the past, and if you're thinking about launching a token, you really should consider doing your streams using Realms. That way your DAO has a control over it versus you yourself. I am telling you that anyone who's setting up streams and it's going to a private wallet, there's going to be a point at which that's going to be a big issue. Make your life easy and just set up the stream.
I'm curious. Like, I know one Nummus token is one vote.
Yeah.
And the vault is governed by tokens.
Yeah.
Was Bumper and Punchy tokens that were purchased?
No, they were given.
They were airdropped.
They were airdropped. Now, if I were gonna, sit and do some detective work, I would guess that people who are part of this team, who are part of this multi-sig council, they are the ones launching the other tokens. as a way to continue to bring revenue and excitement and eyeballs.
So with 500,000 Nummus, so about 7K, we could propose to sell those tokens for more Bitcoin.
Absolutely. And if this was a little lower, I would consider doing it unilaterally. And I think it's a bullish move. I think it's a bullish move for them to liquidate those.
Yeah, they have all the components. I would invest if they actually put a little bit of order in the house, bring those burns on chain transparently through realms. No need for screenshots and trust me, soul incinerator stuff. I would bring all the treasuries under one governance. Enable a token redemption feature, as you guys said, and I would also add the constitution. I'm not 100% sure what types of assets can be added to the treasury, if there is some kind of cypherpunk manifesto where we say we're buying Bitcoin, we are the MicroStrategy of Solana, or we want to be that. I can see the resemblance just by looking at the market cap and their holdings, which is, as we pointed earlier, there's a huge difference between what these guys actually hold and what they're valued. Putting everything together, my naive shitcoiner mind feels that there is a lot of inside trading. There's a group of people that are tightly knit, not in a badly manner, meaning they're not like colluding to harm holders or something. They just want to do things. They want to launch tokens, they want to have Bitcoin, they want to be transparent. But, once you're doing more and more and more things, that's the value of programmatic and instructions and on-chain, is as you're adding to your plate, some of the old ones stop being so shiny, stop being so sexy, and you kind of forget about them. But all the ingredients are there. A little bit of measuring, put them all in one page, give the constitution, give a little bit of the ethos and the whole narrative that governs this token. So, constitution. It might look very clunky and Web 2, but yeah, you can post it in a decentralized storage place and make it Web 3. It's good to have it in writing, and it's very important your DAO configuration is described in that manifesto. Your quorum, your vetoes, your treasuries, your processes, everything needs to be there. So add that. And another question is, do you think the meme narrative helps? Or does it add or does it remove? Because I don't see it as a meme.
That's a very good question.
Way less of a meme than most memes.
That's a very good question, yeah.
More like least meme-ish than actual non-memes that ended up being memes. We're past the meme season. We're past that. I think being a meme token hurts you. There was a period where being a meme token helps you. But looking at the whole Solana and Ethereum and shitcoin history, most of the times being a meme doesn't help you. Sure, there are periods of time where, yeah, meme tokens. But most of the times, and remember our friends here, super OG Solana plug, remembers Samucoin. These were like baller devs with a fantastic toolkit, open source, building. They got memed out just because they wanted to be a meme, and they were not a meme, they were tech. They were a toolkit. What do you think, guys?
I guess you have to embrace the meme to the fullest extent to get the benefits of what it comes with being a meme. Otherwise, if you're on a mission and you're doing stuff that are not considered meme-ish or fun, you're better off not dressing up as a meme. But at the same time, who knows? Maybe you attract the crowds from both worlds. It's an interesting observation, however.
You were the only one not to reply to the "Would you invest?" question, Mr. Takesol. Can you enlighten us?
I will echo the sentiment of we're becoming even more and more strict into what we are investing on, and I think that reflects a general shift in consensus from the market and people that have been burned over and over and over again by the max extraction cycle of the meme mania. So I don't know. I'm gonna be very, very, very cautious. So I don't think I'm gonna be investing. If I could see the veto being added, if I could see a little more, gathered information about, what goes where, what happens when, and where do these burnt coins are coming from, like the a constitution, let's say, to wrap this up as information. Um, that might change my mind. However, like seeing the streams, seeing the transparency to a much larger degree than most coins out there, that's a very positive aspect of this. But as it stands now, I would not invest unless we're missing something, and the recent 3x is telling us something that we should know. But looking at the facts and approaching this from an ICM, Internet Capital Markets, like frameworks, guardrails for maximum holders protection benefits. It's a no for me. Not a very loud no, but a no still.
Yeah, one of the things I enjoyed about this episode is we really took more time talking about what it does rather than can I see everything? Like we could instantly see everything. And they don't like, I have to give comps. And the most, talkative comps lately are ownership coins. No matter how many times you ask, you can't find the numbers. You can't see reality. There's too much hidden and obfuscated. Here, we didn't need anybody to write a thread. We could see everything on chain. That's where the buybacks are happening. That's how the burns are happening. So I appreciate that this was an example of everything happening on chain. And our concerns are, again, things that matter on how much can be done programmatically. I really like that. And I hope, the entire industry gets to a point where we're not questioning where is the money, who's buying what's it doing. We got to move away from this. We really need everyone to look at what they're holding and what the promise is. Be critical of your bags, man. Like, I cannot tell you how much... I'll put it out there. I am currently holding a token that I saw a change in code that I want to dump. And I'm just waiting for it to hopefully get a little pump so I can exit my position. But that's what's great about stuff. You can see the changes live. And from what I can see live from Nummus, I'm bullish on them. Bullish enough that I proposed we buy some on our Solana fund, and I'm glad that you guys supported, so we could go ahead and do that purchase. So yeah, full disclosure, our Solana fund had purchased some of this token earlier, and yeah, I really like the fact that you could see everything here. And maybe it's because it's a very defined business, right? What we do is we buy this token using that. Would it increase? Would you be more likely to want to invest if they were actively using the BTC in DeFi? So that's a yes from Chris.
Yes, for me that's clearly like I especially if they labeled themselves as we are the cross-chain BTC experts. Or we see a strategy in base, we go there. Or we see a strategy in, I don't know wherever. Which Ethereum L2, I don't know. But I know there are strategies out there that give higher APYs And if I had a dedicated party that only did the on-chain stuff, not taking it to Binance Vaults or, sexes, I would definitely be way more interested. We still haven't seen many ways to kind of engage with bridging assets from chain to chain without involving centralized parties. So this is a limitation of our times currently. But sooner or later, if there is enough interest and ways to make this capital more efficient, I'm pretty sure engineers will jump on the opportunity and solve this. But yeah, we need to combine all the strategies, not only and make sure not to keep capital in treasuries that are not yielding.
I'm watching this and thinking, is there a reason? If we were to, how would we do it differently?
I think we said three points that we would be very different. We would add a redemption, we would add a veto, and we would add some strategies to yield for the BTC, maybe lending out.
And we would set the stream up to be owned by the DAO, right?
Yeah.
And the DAO would execute the DCA.
Yep.
Yeah. Generally speaking, though, we're fine. Everything else is fine. It's this is a valid thing you can be doing. And you should participate if you're bullish, not only Bitcoin, but bullish on the management of Bitcoin with the DeFi angle. Very interesting. Legend, would you be more bullish if there were DeFi strategies?
If you act upon them, yeah, why not?
Yeah, it's just one of those, some people would look at it as risk, right? Where it's well, now you're not just a pure Bitcoin play because you're playing with those. I'm speaking as someone who lost Bitcoin trying to earn yield off of it.
So, Eugenio Benetazzo, the guy from Nummus, just shared something. happydao.github nummus.burn, not nummus.vault. I don't know if we went through that link.
Oh, and they're showing how much has been burned up till now. Yeah, I don't know if I agree with the burn strategy. I'm not smart enough to figure that out. I would think you're better off just. I guess the reason why you burn is that way you're adding a different kind of pressure on the price. It doesn't only need to be people interested in purchasing it. You're creating a different kind of demand by burning. But I appreciate that there's the transparency. So yeah, we need to work on giving everyone a way to put a constitution forward. We've discussed this before. That would have answered a lot of our questions. If there were a constitution, it would also speed it up for us if we already knew the places to look for certain things, but we were able to find them pretty fast because it's all on chain. So we will reach out to them and tell them that they've got to put the veto up. And after they've put the veto up, do you think that proposal threshold's fair? I think that's fair. It's not too much.
The coin has 500 million tokens, not a billion.
Should we wrap this up? Any closing statements? Any final thoughts?
Yeah, let's wrap it up. I would say that I was excited to play with one where we didn't spend much time on transparency. And we could dive into what they do. As far as protections, it needs a veto so that way that the assets in the treasury feel a little bit more protected. It sucks that they've got the Streamflow stream, but they had no other tools at the time, so they get a pass there. And it's been managed with a relative integrity, it seems like clockwork. It's happening. If there were a way to make that programmatic, it would be super strong. So I rank it up there on decentralization. Overall, I like it. And I hope we can find another one for us to spotlight next week.
Yeah, looking forward to the next one. Looking forward to doing some of the ownership tokens that are making ripples on my Twitter wall. I'd love to have 8-bit join us again. We had amazing talks about governance during Breakpoint. And any of the teams we discussed. And I'd love also to hear. I don't want to spill any alpha, but we had some talks with some amazing teams in the ecosystem that dream big. Dream big, where there is like hardware DAOs and there is programmatic upgrades, updates, code updates, where there is a third party DAO overlooking and making sure everything is authentic. So we had some really good calls, but it's not my place to say, oh, Team X is doing this amazing thing. I want Team X to come on the show and explain their vision. So big shout out to Nummus, big shout out to all these people that were in Breakpoint and they have the courage to come and discuss whatever experimental plans or however they think this space needs to look like to inspire more trust and make those tokens in investment grade.
Legend, final thoughts?
Mm-hmm. So for the future podcast, it's nice to talk about protocols that have not launched yet with the token, so we can kind of bake them into an ICM standard we developed and see how they would look like if they did with realms for a chance.
Yeah, I like it. We've got the vocabulary.
So yeah, that's for example, if we let's take Symmetry for example, how would you would like if they launched through realms and set up everything how it was supposed to be set up, revenue streams and stuff like that. That's it.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you for the time. It was a fun chat. Next week it's the holidays. We're gonna do a festive episode or not. We'll see, depending on how much fun we're having. Stay tuned. Lots of things to talk about over the next weeks, both on the show, for the show, and beyond. The Realms token is coming. Catch the latest content that we've been releasing. We want to communicate our vision to you guys. If you have any question, tag us, follow us, and give us your feedback. It's more than welcome. So until next time, see you soon.